Alright, SmarkCast. I honestly don't know the episode number, so I'm just going to stop doing the whole episode number thing because it's kind of really annoying. But I'm back in Nerdvana today. The camera's a little bit angled to the right or the left because my window's a little bright today. And I had a question from last week that I forgot to answer. Someone asked me what that thing was. Well, it was right here where this sword is. They said they think they saw Jericho, and to Chad I say, damn good eye. What you saw was this. Get real close so I can see it. It's just my memorabilia from wrestling. It's just some game-worn shirts and jerseys from Jericho and Kurt Angle and a ring mat from that. But then my pride and joy right here at the bottom. You know you can't read it because it might be backwards, but that's Randy Savage to Darren Macho Man. That's what that is. I have Macho Man's autograph. I actually have it twice. I have another one over there. He signed a poster too. That was back when I was like 10, I think. He came to a putt-putt golf course. It was called Sir Goonies. He came out there, and he was a really cool dude. What was really great about it is the way he talked. He really talked like this. Ooh, he had a raspy voice and everything. It was funny. It was, yeah, but it was a good childhood. I have several other autographs, and I want to make a collage like that of my ECW programs. I have a lot of them from Fort Lauderdale and Philadelphia and stuff of all the ECW shows I went to. But good eye, Chad. That was a really good eye because the sun was shining on it and everything. That's crazy. Like I just saw Jericho. But yeah, so anyway, let's get to the SmarkCast talking about Raw, which was a decent Raw, a little somber Raw because once again Daniel Bryan couldn't be there, and you know his father actually passed away unexpectedly on, you know, I think it was shortly after the wedding. Actually, it wasn't on Friday, but it was shortly after the wedding, and I guess that's why Kane beat him down to take him off wrestling. But anyway, it was a decent show, and before anyone asks again, because I know I'm going to move my head here, up here, that's Lita. That's Lita's autograph, Cactus Jack, Mankind, and The Rock. That's all a bunch of other autographs. I know someone's going to be asking about it, and that's Freddy vs. Jason poster. Yeah, and it's not autographed by anyone. But so I want to get to it. Talk about Raw. Kane and the opening Kane thing where Kane demolished Daniel Bryan. I get the point of it. You know, it's to make everyone believe that or know that the monster Kane is back, which is cool and all. But unfortunately, I really do not agree with the whole Kane versus Daniel Bryan thing. Mainly because it doesn't make sense. I know that Batista was gone for several years and got an automatic title shot, but the thing is, Kane has actually been there and hasn't won a match clean since October of 2013. The last match he won was in March, I think, and it was against Roman Reigns, and he won by DQ. So it wasn't a huge win. But again, you know, the problem here isn't really that it doesn't make sense. The problem is that there's no one else to do it. Kane is it. Kane is the only person we have right now because the three top guys, Randy Orton, Batista, and Triple H, which I would not agree with a Triple H title match, but those three guys are tied up with the Shield right now. So they can't just throw them into a match with Daniel Bryan. They would have to find someone else. It's basically like these three guys are really too busy right now, so we're gonna give you this guy. And I mean, if anyone listens to Wrestling Heads Radio, you really need to listen to Wrestling Heads Radio. It's amazing. I called in last night and had a nice conversation with them about it. And I mean, we all agreed that Brock Lesnar is it. Brock Lesnar is the only person they can, but my point was, I don't know if they really agreed with it or not. I don't remember. My point was they can't do it right now because he is fresh off of just defeating the streak. And you can't, and Daniel Bryan has just had this title for just a little bit of time, so he's not going to lose. So do you really want Brock Lesnar going into this match knowing that he's going to lose, even though he just defeated the streak? That's a momentum killer, like that, momentum over. And Brock Lesnar has a lot of momentum, and I say you keep him off TV, bring him back later, and then do that feud. That would be great. I think that was the ending thing that we ended up on Wrestling Heads, was that he needed to come back later and do it. But either way, I'm just not in agreement with it. But at the same time, really, what are you gonna do? Who you gonna get? There's no one else to do it. But anyway, the next thing on that happened was Barrett versus Sheamus in the Intercontinental Tournament, which was actually a really good match. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." It wasn't exactly awesome, but it was really good. Barrett ended up winning it with the bull hammer, which I think he really needs to get more of a high impact finishing move, because that elbow, not so much, not doing it for me. But Barrett wins it, which everyone knew he would, because my thing was it was going to be Barrett and Cesaro. I was wrong, but now that it's Barrett and RVD, we all know Barrett's going to go on to face Big E, and I have a feeling that he may even beat Big E, because it looks like Barrett's in line for a major push, which is cool because I actually really like Barrett. The next thing that happened was probably every time Raw is on, there's one moment on Raw that just irks me and really angers me, and this one was 3MB versus I guess Los Matadores, whatever. The team I really hate. And I mean, I knew that Los Matadores was going to win because 3MB always loses, but to have El Torito pin McIntyre is a slap in the face, because McIntyre is one of the most underrated talents they have on their roster right now, easily. And you had him being beaten by a little person in a bull uniform, and basically that's like saying, well, here's the chosen one, Vince McMahon's chosen one. Cut to 5 years later, oh, we're gonna have you being beaten by a little person. That's awesome, and I'm sure Drew McIntyre loved that, because he's just fallen so far, and there's no coming back now. I just always hoped that there would be this one moment where Drew McIntyre would break away from 3MB and be this big star. I just don't think it's going to happen now, because he's a freaking joke. He's Zack Ryder. He's never going to be anything more than Zack Ryder. So that happened, and it hurt me. And then we got the Evolution Shield standoff. Evolution came out and cut a great promo. My big thing is they came out in their suits and their limo and everything. That's what I wanted to see. They came out there, and then the Shield came out there and wanted to fight, saying, all right, are you going to run? They used the word cream puff quite a bit, and cream puff was actually trending on Twitter after that. Trending on Twitter, that's hard to say. And after all that, it was just that they bring out all the 11 superstars that beat them the previous Raw, and they can't do anything, and it's ingenious. And I said last week that I wasn't impressed with the Evolution return, and now this is the Evolution I want. The Evolution that uses everything at their disposal to throw around. If they wanted to look strong, they needed to beat the Shield down by themselves last week, but that's okay. Now they're using those 11 superstars to be a wall, and that's okay. And I actually really liked it, which brings me to a question through Twitter. I actually got this thing like last week before I did, or just after I did the last show, which is okay. From Darren again, my friend. He's under Beardless D now, which kind of angers me, because I actually dug his beard. His beard is like really bushy and nice, manly beard, and he cut it off. Not cool, man. Not cool, Darren. And then he'll actually appreciate behind my shoulder here. I got my hockey sticks. I told him that I played hockey. He's a hockey fan, which is awesome. But anyway, if you want to follow him, you should. He's awesome. At True North 73. Really good dude. He asked me my thoughts on Evolution, which I was in the midst of giving. Wasn't impressed with them coming out in their man panties. Wanted them to come out in their suits and be cool, be awesome. You know, I would have done it a completely different way. I wouldn't have given away the fact that they were going to get together in the middle of Raw. I would have just brought them out. Good stuff. I'm actually more impressed now because they're actually being Evolution. They're being I'm better than you, and we're more powerful than you. We're the most dominant force, because for a while they were the most dominant force, and now they're back. They're back as Evolution. That makes me happy. And I think he's asked me. I don't know if he meant this. Sorry if I'm misunderstanding your question. I think he's asked me if this is a push for the Shield, and I believe that's what this is exactly. Because there is a rumor going around, I don't know how true it is, that after Extreme Rules, Batista will be taking some time off. Probably to promote Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know exactly how true that is, but if that is true, there's no way Evolution goes over here. No way. That would be just the dumbest move WWE could do, because that kills the momentum of the Shield and gives momentum to a team that is no longer together because Batista's gone. The only way I could see this happening is a Shield split where someone from the Shield joins Evolution, which, I mean, it could happen, but I don't know why they would do that when the Shield is so hot right now. So yeah, I do believe that this whole thing is just Evolution trying to put over the Shield. I really believe that that's what this is about. And then the other one, or is this a he asked if this is a way to strengthen the heel persona for Batista and Orton. I don't think Orton actually needs it. Orton's a pretty strong heel right now. Batista, he's kind of flip-flopping. He's very flip-floppy right now. Because, I mean, he came out, the week or two before WrestleMania and talked crap about Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, and then he joins them like 2 weeks later. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and he plays to the crowd a lot. Sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he does. It's a lot like the way Cesaro is right now. I honestly don't know if Cesaro is a heel or a face. I have no idea. He is very, very tweener because he plays to the crowd. The crowd loves the swing, the big swing, and he's like, you want me to do the swing? He's like, you want to, and, you know, he'll ask the crowd. He'll go to him. He'll turn around, look at the crowd, and clap, and, you know, yeah, you know. He really gets in with the crowd, and heels don't do that. But at the same time, he gets himself counted out, and he aligned himself with Paul Heyman. So that tells me heel. Very, very strange, and it's actually intriguing. Batista now is pretty much full-blown heel, so it's going to be, I think what they're doing with him is great. Yeah, but I think this will strengthen the heel status for Batista. So I think you're right on both counts. I think it is a push for the Shield and to strengthen the heel status for these guys, because they will. I mean, they're playing the coward heel, which is what Evolution often did. You know, where they would run off, or they're running off every time the Shield comes up, and then when the Shield tries to get them on there, get it on with them, they bring out their cohorts and you can't do anything. That ain't gonna happen at Extreme Rules. I don't think that match is going to end clean at Extreme Rules, but I think we're actually going to get to see some nice battle. It's going to be great. Alright, so enough on the Evolution thing. That's kind of a big deal. So I wanted to skip on to the next thing, which was kind of a weird encounter. Usos versus the Brotherhood versus Cody Rhodes and Goldust. Really odd thing going on here, and I really wanted to give my thoughts on this. For one, Goldust throughout the match was kind of doing heel stuff. I mean, he was pushing Jey Uso, and he did the whole hold your hand up so they can do the test of strength, and he kicked him in the gut on the way down. That's total heel move, and that's kind of odd coming from him. And at the end of the match, Cody pushed Goldust and runs out of the ring and walks away. And Goldust chases after him like, hey, what's going on, you know? So I think that's the opening of the Rhodes brothers feud. which is what we wanted at WrestleMania. Looks like we might get it at Extreme Rules, maybe not. But who's going to be the heel in that? I don't know, because they were both acting kind of heelish. Personally, I think it needs to be Goldust, because Cody basically just turned face a few months ago. Actually, it wasn't really a few months ago. It was almost a year ago, and I don't think that the heel thing suits him well. The heel thing always suited Goldust really well. He was a really good heel. So I don't know what's going on, but the main thing was on commentary was Ryback and Curtis Axel, and I was actually thoroughly impressed by that. It was really cool, like because I've been saying, for people who listen to the SmarkCast, I've been saying for months that if Ryback would become Ryan Reeves like he is on Twitter, he's funny, he's intelligent, he's fun to follow. If he would become that, I could get behind him. I probably couldn't get behind him on the in-ring skills. He needs to do a little bit more there, but I could get behind him as Ryan Reeves, and he was actually doing that. He was actually becoming funny and being cool and everything. Giving shout outs to Scott Hall and saying "Ayo," which is neat. And I actually like that. And then but the way they were acting there, giving props to the Usos, giving props to the Brotherhood, it was almost like a face thing. And at the end of it, though, they attacked the Usos from behind. Total heel move, which totally negated all the props and everything like that. Which is kind of, I mean, all of this whole match was almost like when they said weeks ago that Vince McMahon no longer wanted heels and faces. This whole match was really like going for that. It was showing like, yeah, this is what it's gonna be like with no heels and faces. And to me, it was confusing. I was like, man, who am I supposed to be cheering for here? Because I love both these teams. And the main problem I had, though, is that could have been a 5-star match, but it wasn't. It actually wasn't good at all. I didn't like it. But either way, it was a decent little show. So I just wanted to touch on that because this is awkward. But after that was Layla and Emma, and I'm gonna take a drink before I'm not going into a long-winded speech on that. I'm just gonna say that Emma brought out a Cobra of her own, and oh my god. It just, problem is Emma is one of my absolute favorite divas, but they are slowly killing her for me. I'm just gonna leave it at that. They are killing Emma. Get her away from Santino. Get her away and put her in there with Paige or something. Do something. This is ridiculous. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip that to another thing that kind of made me mad. Cesaro and RVD the whole time during this match. It's another match for the tournament. Whoever wins this goes on to face Barrett for the #1 contendership. Cesaro and RVD. I wanted it to be Cesaro because I wanted to see Cesaro versus Barrett, which would have been an amazing match. And if those two go in there, I genuinely have no idea who is going to win that match because they're both being pushed right now. They're both being pushed hard. So Cesaro and RVD in there, they're having a decent match. It starts out a little rocky because RVD is kind of botching some things, which, I mean, it's not out of the ordinary for him to botch things, and he usually makes up for it later because he has great matches. It's just he always starts off kind of rocky. No big deal. And the whole match it's actually pretty good, and I'm like, oh man, and it starts getting really good, and then Swagger comes out, and I'm like, well, RVD's going to win this. And he comes in there and attacks Cesaro and knocks Cesaro out outside, and RVD wins by countout. Dumb thing to do. And that's kind of like saying, we're not going to give you Cesaro and Barrett, which is what you really want, you know. We're going to give you Swagger and Cesaro, which you've seen. And I don't want to see Swagger and Cesaro because Swagger used to be one of the most underrated talents on the roster. Now he's lost a step. It's just, he's not fun to watch anymore. And Cesaro's going to go over, so what's the point? You know, Cesaro's the one getting the push. And maybe Cesaro gets this win on Swagger and they say, hey, you know, you lost out on that tournament in unfair circumstances, so we're going to go ahead and give you an Intercontinental title match. Which would be great if Barrett loses to Big E, because then Cesaro could beat Big E. But If Barrett beats Big E, then we're not gonna. Cesaro's just gonna go get beat by Barrett. So I was just a little mad at that ending. That ending just didn't make sense to me. Why would you? No one cares about Cesaro versus Swagger, and Cesaro even did the big swing on him. But I guarantee they're gonna be facing again later. I thought Cesaro was gonna get to do a big swing on Coulter, which would have been crazy. Would have been awesome, man. It would have been just a big fur ball flying around. I just don't think it'll happen. I wish it would happen. But the match was awesome until the end. So, but now the ending is RVD versus Wade Barrett. You can pretty much bet all your money that Wade Barrett's going to win that match and go on to face Big E. Just going to say that. You can go ahead and put money on it. All right. After that, we had Paige and Oksana, which decent match. It got about, I think it got like 7-8 minutes, which is really unheard of for divas recently. And Paige was awesome. Once again, they got her as the Paige of old instead of being the person who gets her butt kicked through the whole match and then comes back and wins at the end. Now she's actually just kicking people's butt. Great. Love it. And then that move at the end is just ridiculous. That Scorpion Crosslock is ridiculous. And she nailed it. She wins. Paige wins again. I think they're going for her for a lengthy title run, at least until AJ gets back. No, there's no real word of where AJ went. Just she took a leave of absence. The rumor is she's moving to Chicago with Punk. Whatever. But she's Paige is facing Tamina. She's actually facing Tamina next at the pay-per-view, which should be a decent match, and it's actually going to be Tamina in the spotlight, which is awesome because people don't really know how good Tamina actually is, which is cool. So I'm actually looking forward to Paige Tamina, especially if they give him more than 5 minutes. I'm ready for that. All right, and then we had a Rusev squash. He squashed Sin Cara, no big deal. They set up a match. It's going to be R-Truth and Xavier Woods versus Rusev in a handicap match at Extreme Rules, which I think is a bad idea. They're kind of doing the same thing they did with Ryback, and you see how that worked out. Didn't work out well at all. And I think it's going to make R-Truth and Xavier Woods look really weak. It's going to destroy that team, and that kind of sucks. But Rusev is he's gonna squash them. Well, probably not squash them, but he'll beat them too. The main problem I have with this whole Rusev coming in, squashing everybody, he hasn't come up against real competition yet. And that's the main problem, because believe it or not, the people who don't know who Rusev is actually a really talented dude. He can actually work. It's a lot like what they did with Samoa Joe in TNA. They just had him come there, squash people. In fact, interesting side fact, if you watch Raw last week, they had a small chant of "Rusev's gonna kill you." Not as much as the one at I think it was WrestleMania, or was it? It was either the Raw after WrestleMania or WrestleMania where they said Bray's gonna kill you. Except that one was loud. Everyone heard Bray is gonna kill you. But they had a small one on the one last week on the Raw last week of Rusev's gonna kill you, which is really cool. It's a lot like Samoa Joe, but TNA turned Samoa Joe around and made him more vulnerable, because your monsters can't be heartless, soulless killing machines that are completely invulnerable to anything. You have to have a vulnerability somewhere, or else there's no way to actually have a fun match. That's why Goldberg crashed and burned in the end, is because he was completely invulnerable. Like, no one could beat him, no one nowhere knew how to stop him. And it took a chair shot and chair shots to actually take him out. Finally, it took cheating, which that just doesn't make for a fun match, because faces don't cheat. So either way, Rusev has potential to be an amazing superstar, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing him as a huge superstar later on down the road, which he will be. All right, and the last one, which was awesome. It was the fan poll match, where the fans decided if Cena faced Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, or the entire Wyatt family. And of course, the entire Wyatt family won, because I mean I just don't see how WWE. I know they had to know that that one was going to be the one, but it got it. And the one thing that I did notice, that I know what's going to happen with it, but I noticed it, is when it happened, Cena started looking to the crowd like, how could you do this to me? You know, like, I thought, he's just like, I've always respected you, why are you doing this to me, kind of thing. And I actually called it on Twitter. I said he's gonna act like he's gonna turn on the fans, and he won't in the end. And then I got to thinking about it. Like, if they were gonna turn him heel, now would be the time. They won't. Do not say that I said they were gonna turn him heel, because they're not. It's not gonna happen. But now would be the time, because he's not the face of the company right now. Daniel Bryan is the face of the company. He's the top face now, so why not just give a little bit, just kind of twist it and see how people take it. And then if people start saying, yeah, no, we can do this, turn them completely, you know. But if the fans are like, whoa, wait a second, the kids are like, no, I can't go for that, then don't turn them. But give a little bit, just turn them just a hair, you know, it'll be great. But they could do it, because John Cena's not the top guy right now. He's not the top seller. So why not? But anyway, the match itself was just him being beat on, and it was actually really good. There was a point when he got knocked out, and Bray actually ballroom danced with his unconscious body, which was fantastic and creepy all at the same time. And in the end, John Cena actually did a little comeback and almost beat the Wyatts, but at the end they actually caused a disqualification for a beatdown, Sister Abigail, and then Raw ended with Bray Wyatt holding CM. Oh wow, what's on my mind? Cena. Cena's head, and started singing "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands." And instead of just singing the chorus like he usually does, he actually starts singing the verses too. And I was like, this is awesome. And you can hear the crowd going singing with him. And I mean, this crowd was very pro Wyatt family. It was very pro Bray Wyatt. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing Cena get beat down. Even though, I mean, if you listen to the SmarkCast, I'm actually a fan of Cena. I'm a fan of his work. I'm a fan of his work ethic. And I'm a fan of what he does outside of WWE. So I'm not saying that I'm happy to see Cena get beat down because I hate Cena. I'm saying I'm happy to see it because it needs to happen. It needs to happen to put Bray Wyatt over. And Bray Wyatt really should go over at Extreme Rules in that cage match. I mean, really should. If he doesn't, it's bad. I think they can get away with Cena winning at Mania if Bray Wyatt goes over clean at Extreme Rules. With no outside interference, he just wins, which would be great. So, and then maybe do that little turn thing I said. Maybe turn him just a little bit. Should make him show a darker side. And then if the kids are kind of like, wait, no, I can't do this, then don't turn him. But if people, the IWC, start kind of being like, wait a second, I think I can like this Cena, because that's what's going to end up happening in the end. Is if he turns heel, everyone in the IWC that's always like, oh, Cena sucks, they'll start cheering him. You know, that's exactly what's going to happen. And then they're going to, all these people who always say, oh man, Cena can't wrestle, Cena's not good on the mic, be like, man, Cena's the best in the ring. It's going to happen. Mark my words, if he turns heel, that's exactly what will happen, because the IWC fans are fickle. I'm an IWC fan. But they are just like, they are very turncoat, and they are very bandwagon. They will hop on anything. The difference is they don't actually hop on the bandwagon, they hop off the bandwagon. So it's, you know, they're the bandwagon now is Daniel Bryan. I'm surprised they're not jumping off of it, because like, oh, everyone likes Daniel Bryan. Well, I don't like Daniel Bryan. Because the IWC are just a bunch of hipsters. They don't like anything that are cool. You know, it's like anything that's underground. Oh man, I like Seth Rollins when he was Tyler Black in Ring of Honor. Yeah, everyone says that. IWC says that. I say that. And then it's just a hipster thing to say, but I find it funny. And this is going to happen with Cena. They're going to start cheering for Cena when he becomes a heel. No big deal. I think the IWC is very important to the universe, because if without the IWC, you don't have those people that have the guts, the balls, and all that to chant Randy Savage in the middle of a pay-per-view, or chant JBL in the middle of a pay-per-view. So and that makes it fun. So it's the IWC is very important to the overall picture. But anyway, it's going on 30 minutes. That's usually about as long as I go. I'm done. My whole thing is done. So anyway, if you want to send me some comments or anything, you can do it here on YouTube. I'll leave the comment section open. If you want to send some questions or comments personally, you got my email address. That's at smarkcast@gmail.com, because I'm thinking of my Twitter name. My Twitter name is @-Darren, MINUSDARRIN. I'll leave it in the description as usual. Hopefully you dug this one. I was a little less energetic than usual, but I've also been a little laid up recently. You can tell by my voice, not been exactly healthy. But maybe next time the sun won't be shining bright through the window, and I'll actually get to. I can just do this. Here you go. Watch that. There you go. Nerdvana for everyone who misses it. Mainly for you, Darren. Alright. Thank you for watching SmarkCast, and I'll catch you next week.